But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $499 when you call now to get this special $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free awning idea kit with DVD, plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free awning idea kit with DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
1-800-695-4014.
Are you ready for business in brief?
Bloomberg Briefs puts the power of Bloomberg to work for you with over 15 industry-specific newsletters available only by subscription. Each offers proprietary data, researched and written by acknowledged experts. Top analysts, dedicated economists, senior business editors, all presented in a concise, uncluttered environment.
It gives me the edge I need.
Go to BloombergBriefs.com right now for your free 30-day trial.
Making the connection between Washington and Wall Street. One man brings them together every week.
We should not look at as much as what's in the tax code, but who gets them.
This is about fairness. It's about balance.
Political Capital, Fridays at 9. First, Bloomberg.
Welcome back. This is Bottom Line on Bloomberg Television and streaming on your tablet, your phone, and on Bloomberg.com. The annual meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors is underway. At the top of the agenda, revenue generation and job growth. Joining me from Las Vegas, site of this year's conference, is the Mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu. Mr. Mayor, welcome to Bottom Line. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Nice to be with you, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Sir, last week you were in Chicago attending the Clinton Global Initiative America meeting. You told reporters that Washington gridlock is making it harder for you and your colleagues to deal with fiscal challenges. You said, quoting here, "Our old partner has left us." What did you mean by that?
Well, one of the things that all mayors across the country are dealing with, both Republicans and Democrats, is having to balance our budgets. We can't run, we can't hide. We have to put gas in police cars. We have to fill potholes. We have to make sure that fire trucks show up at fires. And what's been happening because of the global economy and because of Congress's inaction is all of those financial pressures have fallen on the shoulders of cities. And the consequence has been that this old adage that less is more has turned out not to be true. And actually to this meeting, less is less. And one of the things that cities have had to do is find innovative ways to make a lot less go a lot more further. And what's happened is that our partner that used to be with us, that used to help us with funding, has basically, because of their dysfunction, not only shown up, but taken away the tools we need to create strong economies and safer cities.
Mr. Mayor, how has the sequester, those automatic budget cuts that began in March, how has it affected New Orleans? How much were you relying on federal dollars to help your city deal with its fiscal situation?
Well, first of all, it's not a question of relying on them or being dependent on them, but when America is working well, it's working when the federal government's doing its part, the state government's doing its part, the local governments are doing their part in partnership with the private sector, the faith-based, and the not-for-profit communities. When one of those partners doesn't show up and there's a major hole, somebody's got to pick up the shovel and start shoveling. And so we see this. We see it in fighting a crime. We see it in infrastructure improvements. There were stories in the last couple of weeks about the eroding infrastructure in this country, which, as you know, is the foundation for economic development. And anytime one of the major partners doesn't show up, everybody else has got to pull the wagon that much further. And it's going to be very difficult going forward.
Mr. Mayor, is it time to revisit the conversation about an infrastructure bank?
I think there's no question about it. One of the things that we have to do if we want to outcompete China and India is we have to spend and invest in the things that actually help jobs grow. And clearly, infrastructure is one of them. One of the things that we are exploring with the Clinton Global Initiative with Mayor Emanuel and President Clinton is finding ways to create infrastructure banks on the local level so that we can create avenues for the private sector to more easily invest in the construction of public projects. That's another way of getting it done. It would be better, and we could go further, and we could do more, and we could keep up with the major infrastructure improvements going on around the world if Washington, D.C. would do its part. Washington continues to say that it doesn't have the money, but just yesterday, even on the immigration bill, which I support, by the way, Congress introduced an amendment which is going to allow them to spend $30 billion on border security. What I note from that is when the nation run by Congress thinks it's an important thing, they find the money right away. And I think what cities are saying is if we're the generals on the ground making things happen, that we need our partner back because we think that we can do more together rather than separately.
Mayor Landrieu, many U.S. cities are having to do more with less. How do you govern in this age of austerity? And more importantly, how do you engineer growth? Where are your new funding sources coming from?
Well, here's what we're doing in New Orleans. When I took office, we had a structural deficit, and we had a huge deficit. We cut $100 million out of a $440 million budget, and we had to do it in 6 months. We cut very aggressively, but we cut smart. We cut with a scalpel. We didn't do it with a hatchet, and we thought about where we could cut in ways that perhaps wasn't the city's primary objective. Then what we did was we reorganized the mousetrap. We completely restructured how government worked, and then we took the savings and we reinvested that. So unlike Congress, that seems to not even know how to cut smart, what mayors are doing is have to go in with precision and make sure that we cut in a way so that when the economy comes back, we can actually grow. Now, you can only do that for so long. And I think that Congress and Washington, D.C. is really going to have to figure out that they got to show up to the game and actually get something done. There's a lot of talk going on, but there's a high level of frustration amongst the mayors, both Republicans and Democrats, that we are being left on the field of battle without the tools that are necessary, and that's a real problem for us going forward.
Mr. Mayor, we are going to take a quick break right now. We will continue our discussion with New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu from the site of this year's Conference of Mayors. It's in Las Vegas. Bottom Line continues in a moment.
If we could supply fresh water, this would be the perfect location for the new town.
Using their 3D experience platform, Dassault Systèmes proved Georges Mogin's dream of transporting icebergs could become reality. It takes a special kind of compass to explore the world's future possibilities. Dassault Systèmes. If we ask the right questions, we can change the world.
This holiday, embark on a magical journey through the heart of Europe at its most festive time of year. Experience time-honored traditions and fairy tale-like celebrations as you merrily drift among snow-covered palaces, beautifully decorated historic towns, and Christmas markets all aglow. And on board, our warm staterooms, award-winning service and dining await you. So this holiday, spend less time getting there and more time being there. More time celebrating the old world in a whole new way. Holiday cruises start at just $1,800 per person. Viking River Cruises, exploring the world in comfort.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable, we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning. Our Sunsetter retractable awning opens and closes in just 60 seconds. It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
It provides instant shade and instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
And our Sunsetter costs under $700.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $499 when you call now to get the special $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
We love our Sunsetter retractable awning, and you're going to love yours too.
Sunsetter awnings are assembled in America and guaranteed to last for years. So call now to get this free awning idea kit with DVD, plus your $200 Sunsetter discount certificate.
But this is a limited time offer.
Call now.
Call now for your free awning idea kit with DVD and $200 discount certificate. There's no obligation.
1-800-695-4014.
And we are back with the mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu, joining us from Las Vegas, site of this year's U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting. Mr. Mayor, thank you for staying with us. The conference is calling on Congress to pass the Marketplace Fairness Act that deals with sales taxes for purchases made online. The mayors released a report today on how much revenue cities and counties are losing because of uncollected taxes. What's the figure, and how do you collect those taxes without creating another burdensome, chaotic bureaucracy?
Well, let me say this. The bottom line, if you want to see a bureaucracy or chaos, is cities not being able to function. And what's happened is almost $23 billion has been taken out of the base of financial support that cities have used to actually run governments, create economic development, run recreation programs, improve sewer systems, and provide basic services. 85% of the people in this country live in cities, and they have to be able to flourish. And if people keep taking away the tax base, we're not going to be able to run the government, we're not going to be able to partner with the private sector, and we're not going to be able to create the jobs that we need. And so I believe that this act is going to pass. I hope it does, and it's going to restore to the cities and to the states part of what it is that we're going to need to be a really good partner for the private sector.
Mr. Mayor, the issue of gun violence is one that many cities, including yours, are struggling with. How has the violence harmed the economy of cities, and how has it affected your ability to convince companies and their workers to relocate?
Well, here's the thing. I think America's drunk on violence, and we suffer the consequences from these deaths. 40 people are killed on the streets of America every day, and 40 more will be killed today before the stroke of midnight. The economists say, to the extent that you can put a dollar figure on, that every murder costs us about $7 million in economics lost. And then the human toll is unbelievable. We had 14,000 murders on the streets of America just last year. 611,000 people have been killed since 1980. On the streets of America. When you think about that human toll and the loss of that capacity, it's just stunning. And we have to just not only deal with guns, we have to deal with the conditions that have allowed that culture of violence to be created. And that's something I think we as a nation have got to stop for a moment and be called into communion on and really address the deep issues that are very deep and they're very wide.
Sir, you believe the arts can help alleviate some of this violence. How?
Well, first of all, I think there are a lot of things that can help alleviate the balance and the violence. Arts is one of them, but regrowing communities. Most of the young men that are killed and being killed are high school dropouts. They've checked out of society. They have grown up in a culture of violence that is very different, Mark, from the environment that you and I grew up in. And we've got to have all hands on deck. So it doesn't have to just be arts. It's got to be families. It has to be churches. It has to be communities. It has to be an education system. And it is about guns, but it's about a lot more than that as well.
Mayor Landrieu, on Monday, the conference is going to discuss job creation. How are metro areas dealing with unemployment? In these times of budgetary constraints, how are you able to create jobs at the local level?
Well, one of the things that's happening in New Orleans is, we're getting our act together. And after Katrina, a very short time ago, we were 17 feet underwater. And now the city of New Orleans is coming out of the ground. We're making major improvements, as you know, in the way the city is governed. Our education system is really kind of turning the clock right now and doing things that most other education systems haven't done. Unemployment rate in the New Orleans area is well below the national average because I think we're smarter and we're faster and we're better, and we're having to create innovative solutions to old problems. So we're going to keep working at it in a very aggressive way. But again, if we had our federal partners back at the table and not left alone just to kind of do locally what we do best, and we were able to partner together like we originally envisioned, I think we'd be doing a lot better. And Congress has got to show up and play ball. I think a lot of the mayors are very frustrated that there's too much talk, not enough action. Let's get it done.
The mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu, joining us from Las Vegas, site of this year's U.S. Conference of Mayors meeting. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for your time today and for the extended interview. We appreciate it.